Waiting for it to go up. All right, we should be live now. Crypto Azzy, what's up? How was your weekend?
It was very, very peaceful, very productive. You know, these days I'm just fully focused on getting things done. I'm not really into turning up or partying or whatever, unless I have a special occasion. So I'm all about that life, you know, that cooking, cleaning, catching up with people, crypto research, boring life right now. How about yours?
Okay. Not too much. What did I do? I didn't do too much this week. I don't ever have anything exciting to say.
Like what?
No, I didn't do too much. I went to the Whole Foods market.
Okay.
Oh, my half sister, she's in town. So that was cool. Spent some time with her, hung out. Took her to this little pizza place. Yeah, we had like a little karaoke thing. Yes, I did do something. Yeah, had a little karaoke thing. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Okay, so who won the competition?
You know I won. Why would you even ask me that? Why even play with me like that?
Hang on, did you sing or did you rap or did you mumble?
I sang.
Because some people mumble.
Down, walking fast.
Oh my God, you did that White Chicks soundtrack.
Yeah, 1,000 miles. That's what I sung. Now I killed it too. I had the whole choreography. I had it all going.
Will you give us a taste later on?
Maybe.
If we're good for time.
It's like a premium video. They have to pay for that, like $10 a minute. Premium video. It's a great song, to be honest. It's an amazing song.
You know, let me tell you, actually, there was a basketball team that was recorded. It went viral, one of the NBA basketball team, and they knew the words. Like, I think Carmelo Anthony was looking at them with disgust.
Really?
But anyway, let's get to the crypto news. But yeah, you go ahead first.
Okay, yeah, so for everyone that's tuning in, you guys know how we pretty much give it up. So Crypto Azzy, she's going to do the fundamental stuff, let us know the new news, developments, what's going on. I'm going to share the technical stuff. So she's going to go first with her fundamental news, everything crypto related, and I'll come on the backside and let y'all see what the charts are saying, at least my perspective, not financial advice. The views and opinions that I express and Crypto Azzy, Asmeret express, there are views and opinions, not a reflection on anybody else, and it's not financial advice. So hashtag not financial advice, but listen though. And we're just trying to have some fun and try to share what we are seeing and do your own due diligence, your own research, and from there, you know, make your own choices. So without further ado, go ahead, Asmeret, have at it.
Thank you very much, Yusuf, Aking Risen. So guys, I will start off with, I know you heard the breaking news earlier last week, what was it, Wednesday, Thursday, you found out that the SEC rejected Bitcoin ETFs by ProShares and Direction. And I know there's been much discussions about these ongoing reviews and delays and so on. So I wanted to touch on that a bit first, because if you also heard, they are reviewing these decisions. So if you remember way back with the Winklevoss brothers, they submitted an ETF which was rejected for similar reasons. It got rejected. So it was to do with fraud and manipulation of Bitcoin markets. They expressed concern about that. So they needed, you know, to postpone that, I guess, until they're being proven otherwise. So the market, you know, they know that these are not the most critical. The one that was submitted by CBOE, the CBOE backed VanEck Solid X one, which is going to be settled with Bitcoins for the first time. These ones are settled in spot, so they're going to be settled with cash. So the market didn't go too crazy on that, but it was expected as well, that they may be rejected or postponed. Actually, with some of them, this was the final deadline. So again, this is nothing to be worried about, because they're still going to formulate and review these. But what is interesting is when they came out. I know with the NYSE ARCA, which filed the ProShares application, they said that it did not meet its requirement. That a national securities exchange rules be designed to prevent fraudulent and manipulative acts and practices. So even though this was NYSE ARCA and the ProShares are experts with ETFs, they still were rejected. But there's been discussions within the SEC. We did see a dissent by one of them previously. And so this is not a clear-cut thing. They're still working on it. I mean, at least from the news that's coming out on the outside, we're not, 100% certain what kind of decisions they'll be making and what the timescale will be. But the industry experts do foresee that delays, especially for the physically settled ETF, the VanEck SolidX one, may go to December the 29th, or at some point in the first quarter of next year, 2019. And that's the one that we really care about, the market cares about. And as you can see, the market is sensitive to these announcements, because as we keep saying again and again, institutional investors will not come into the space en masse until there's regulatory framework and solid custody solutions. Remember, these funds cannot be kept in, like a Trezor or a ledger. We have to keep into, mind that we're dealing with institutional investors who want the same comfort, they want the same security as they get with traditional markets. So they do want federally regulated exchanges. It's for them to be able to be exposed to Bitcoin and these cryptocurrencies. So they're still just working out the details here. As they say, the devil's in the details. So we just have to be patient and just be prepared. And of course, the market will be ready to price in as soon as the announcement is made, or actually beforehand when these institutional investors start making moves in advance. So so that was with the SEC, and the next date. So again, we're expecting a delay on this, but September the 30th is when it was delayed to the VanEck SolidX CBOE one. The SEC had postponed that decision until September the 30th, but it's widely expected to be delayed again. If we get a nice surprise and we get the approval, perhaps they want to, shock the market, or there's something else that came into their approval, into their decision making, that made them think, okay, this is a lot more, it does meet or comply with some of the rules that they feel is important, especially with the manipulation and the fraudulent practices. Then by all means they have a choice to do that. So the SEC does plan to they do have this staff review in regards to these ETFs, the ProShares and the directions. And so the SEC staff, they can make decisions on applications through delegated authority. The agency's chairman and the commissioners, they do have the power to review decisions. So, yeah. So it was the staff that initially rejected them, but the commissioners and the chairman do have the power to review. So that's with the SEC. So I just also want to point out that some people may think like this this may lead to a prolonged bear market, or no one really is sure what's going to happen until the bulk of these ETFs have been decided upon. So we need to literally go through every single one of them and see how it plays out. So, you know, that's, again, it's to be expected. So the fact that they've rejected 9 of these ETFs and now they're going to review them, I don't know if that's something that they know it may have an impact on the market, but it's interesting to see why right now, you know, you have to question why now, why can they have just gone through the process and just gave us a final answer. So this review does throw a spanner in the works. You know, it'll be interesting to see what they do. So yeah, so that's with the SEC. What are your thoughts, out of curiosity? What's your thoughts so far on that, Yusuf?
The SEC and the ETFs?
Yeah.
From what I'm gathering, that the sentiment is that they're all going to be continued, that the ETFs that were rejected, that were settled in spot and cash, that they really weren't very different than the ETF that was already proposed. So rejecting one was the same as rejecting all of them, because they're all essentially the same. And some were even criticized as being poorly written and proposed. So that's what I'm gathering from that. I'm not the fundamental person, but I'm just, you know, I'm trying to put my little bites together. So that, and then the one that's settled in physical, like the one that you're talking about, the one that we really need and we're waiting on, is very likely for that to be pushed. I shouldn't say very likely. From what I'm understanding, there's a probability, great or small, that the maximum allotment as far as extensions will be exercised. From what I understand, the way that it works is that it has like 2 or 3 45 extensions and then one like 90-day extension. So what they're saying, and again, this is just, you know, me looking through some forums, conversations, and how things are typically working. So I don't have anything for certain factual saying this is going to happen at this date or if it's going to happen at all. But what I'm gathering is that the real decision on this isn't going to be, like you said, until late this year, early next year. And I'm even hearing most likely early next year before we get the decision. And again, this is the decision, guys. It's not we're going to get it. We're going to find out if we get it or not. And that's most likely going to be the beginning of next year. So now I'm very conservative, very cautious about crypto.
Okay. What I'm curious to know when I'm asking you this question, though, what are you seeing on the markets every time we get a response? How is it playing out on the charts? What are your views on that?
Well, honestly, I wanted to see Bitcoin crash a couple of weeks ago. That would have been great. It crashed a little bit, but not as much as I would have liked. And now we're buying back up a little bit more. So, and I'll show you guys a chart here shortly after we get through the fundamental stuff. But from the chart perspective, the technical perspective, I still like 4K, 3K. I still like it. Like, I know people, I feel like I do this every time. There's like it's deja vu or whatever you want to call it. But every time we drop and then we start buying back up again, people are like, oh, it's over. Like the worst is behind us. But technically, nothing has really changed. So even though we're buying up now, I still think 4K, 3K is very probable. I think I shared an article with you as well about one of Bitcoin's most bullish.
Yes, I read that.
I'll let you talk on that, but now he's even calling 3K for Bitcoin price. So I'm not seeing a reason to be long-term bullish just yet. I mean, I've been saying this forever. I've said it when it was at 10K, at 7K, at 8K. I've been saying it, and the market. Bitcoin, like the alts took a whooping. The alts got smashed, something terrible. Like the alts got hammered, got their teeth kicked in. But Bitcoin hasn't, I mean, Bitcoin suffered, but not as much as I thought it would have. I thought we would have shaken this 6K floor already. But I do think it's going to break. And when it breaks, it's going to be vicious. It's going to be violent. It's going to be unrelentless. It's going to be unforgiving. It's going to be a hateful break. It's going to be a break. Like from a technical perspective, Like I just like seeing these things happen in the market because it takes forever for something to happen. Even if it breaks bullish, I just want to see it happen because it's cool.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to break bearish, and when it breaks, it's going to break with fury. It's going to break like it hates everyone. It's going to break with pure passion, pain, despair. Like, it's going to be a glorious break. Whether it break out bullish or bearish, it's going to be one of the most beautiful breakouts
violent
I've ever seen in mankind. Like, it's not going to be like a little pop, like, oh, 6,000, 5,500. No, we're going to go 6,000, 4,400.
Yeah, it's been ranging, hasn't it?
Break. Yeah, the more it range, the more violent the break is going to be.
Yeah.
So if you guys are in at, let's say you bought in at 6,000 and you're at 6,700 right now or 66, whatever, like, just be aware. I'm not saying hold. I'm not saying buy. I'm not saying sell. I'm not saying any of that. But what I am saying is be aware because we're getting closer within a zone. And in this zone is nothing but destruction. Something's going to obliterate something else. The bulls are going to stampede the bears and stomp all over them, or the bears is going to devour and claw the face off the bulls. It's going to be disgusting. It's going to be a massacre on the charts. I'm telling you guys right now.
Oh my God, the hyperbole.
So I can't wait. I think we're selling off. I think there's a lot of smart institutional investors think we're selling off. We could all be wrong, but I think there's a very high probability that we sell off, and I'll share you why I feel that way here shortly. And I just can't wait to be part of that event when the 6K floor breaks.
You're rubbing your hands.
Oh my God. It's gonna be fury. People gonna be like, oh my God, it cost me. I mean, the miners, because there's this stigma that we can't go below 6K because that's what it costs to mine a Bitcoin. Ooh, I can't wait for us to break that myth because that's nothing but a myth. I can't wait. But if 6K holds, then you guys are right.
It's a key psychological level as well, right?
They said that about 10K too. They said about 10K. But see, when 6K breaks, people are not going to know what to do with themselves. So I'm like, well, I thought 6K was, they had to hold. So everyone's going to second guess everything they knew about Bitcoin and crypto. When we trade under 6K for 24 hours, preferably get a weekly close under 6K. Oh my God, it's gonna be mayhem. Everybody's gonna be selling everything. Get this out, get away, ducking, running, hiding their kids. It's gonna be nuts.
Just to add to that as well, Anthony Piano, the guy what you were just referring to in regards to the Bitcoin price potentially going as low as $3,000. This guy, let me tell you, he's the founder and partner of Morgan Creek Digital Asset, and he is as bullish as they come. I mean, he literally made some forecasts. He said the January's prediction for January will be $50,000 by the year end, and then he was quite wide off the mark. He said by as much as 4 years, and he said, you know what, I'm not ashamed. I'm not if the markets or other analysis prove otherwise, I'll be the first one to put my hand up and say I was not right. So he mentioned there was another one as well. Mark Yusko, he predicted by the end of this year it'd be $25,000 per Bitcoin, and that by the year 2024 we're going to see 500,000 per Bitcoin. So Pompliano, the first guy I mentioned, he examined more data. And he's still optimistic, he's still bullish long term, but in the short term he did say, we may have to see that correction all the way as low as 3,000 until so something else happens, and we should see at some point when the market bottoms out, and it's not normally news that suddenly determines the bottoming out and then the reversal. It actually is to do more simply to do with the exhaustion of sellers and the buyers coming in. Like the sentiment, really, there has to be a massive shift. So he mentioned, interestingly, the parabolic increases of what happened. Obviously, we shouldn't look at the past as a guarantee for what may happen in the future, but there are patterns that we spot and we see with Bitcoin's history. Certain things have happened, they've mirrored each other regardless of the market conditions or the lack of adoption at that time. And so he says with Bitcoin, the parabolic increases in price, they continue to be longer. So with each run, each time we have, this is measured from the last all-time high to a new all-time high. The first one happened and it took 300 days to do this, almost a year, was 2010 to 11. That was the first run. And then the second one took almost triple that amount, 900 days. So this was between 2011 and 2013. And then obviously with the last parabolic rise we were witness to was 2013 all the way obviously to last year, 2017. And that took almost 1,500 days to complete. So he's saying if we were going to have like an extrapolation of this trend, and that he says, it's then if we take this theory that Bitcoin potentially we may be able to see an all-time high not until the year 2023 in the middle of it, and that works out something like more than 2,000 days after the previous all-time high. So it's interesting to look at data, but again, we shouldn't. Bitcoin has always had this history of terrible corrections and then coming back to set even more all-time highs. And this is also with the increase in adoption rate, with the increase in we're seeing the geopolitical impact. So different countries are using cryptocurrencies to be able to evade sanctions or because of their hyperinflation. So it's interesting with that. What do you think, Yusuf?
What countries are using Bitcoin?
What countries are
using Bitcoin? I keep hearing people say countries using Bitcoin.
Yeah, so Iran, we know Iran is doing their own national currency, but it's said that they're also using existing cryptocurrencies, and with the people, with the citizens as well. Venezuela, we know, is doing the petrodollar, and they're making it easier for their citizens to convert some of the, because they literally have to have like shopping bags and wheelbarrows and anything to carry all that money. So their petrodollar, their cryptocurrencies is backed by oil. So we have Russia, we have China, we have other countries, and particularly their citizenship. In the news, we're hearing they are not skeptical, but they are cautious. They're cautious, but we're seeing the Russian government is looking into it. They're establishing certain laws and rules that they're working on legislation as we speak. They have major Russian telecommunication companies, finance companies, other companies dealing with certain infrastructure. They're coming together, they're creating partnerships, and we know there are, it's not been highly reported, but there are people accumulating cryptocurrencies and being able to see how potentially this can work in their field, also with blockchain technology as well. So we see there's manipulation going on with the price, and that there's certain sectors, certain groups looking to create more, what can I say, more clarity. So with the South Koreans, the Japanese, as we know, it's legal tender there, Bitcoin, and they've been one of the frontier. What can I say? They're trying to get at the frontier. They want to be the forerunners, the pioneers, and be able to really bring the space into integrate it to existing systems. So Japanese, South Koreans, even the South Koreans have been cracking down more recently with China as well, with WeChat, the cracking down on cryptocurrencies use. But they don't get it twisted, guys. They're working on trying to adopt the blockchain technology, seeing how that works with the public and private blockchains. We're seeing massive institutions getting involved, working out how they could also take a piece of the pie. But to be honest with you, the governments, the major national organizations, they're looking to literally have their cake and eat it. So they don't want to lose too much power, too much control with their existing systems, with their existing businesses, and with their existing regulation. But also, they don't want to be left out. They feel threatened. They want to be taking a proactive approach. And so this is why we're seeing, excuse me, we're seeing a lot of it's not just talk, but look at what they do. Look at the money and investments being poured in, infrastructures being built, partnerships being being launched and coming together. There's so many collaborations across the board, any which way you look at it. So these countries, Zimbabwe as well, another one as well, suffering from hyperinflation, that had to were forced to use the US dollars and other basket of currencies. In terms of any country practicing capital controls, the citizenship, like we saw what happened with the Turkish lira, with the South African rand, at the same time, and these currencies were being devalued, the price of Bitcoin had shot up. So there's going to be this uneasy period of time when we transition, and the markets will be adjusting to that. But we're seeing rise in adoption. We're seeing people coming to the space and taking advantage of the not only the information, the data, but how this can really work to change, in terms of real world user case. They're basically looking to see how can I minimize the risks to me and to us, and how can we make as much headway into this. So yeah, so that's with sorry, did you want to say something, Yusuf?
No, I'm listening to you. I'm enjoying this.
Okay, yeah. So I wasn't sure if you, because I heard your microphone, I thought you were about to say something. So okay, so that's in a nutshell, that's what's happening with the price. I mean, with the one of the bullish VCs. I mean, we're going to continue to see all these different. I mean, it's just it's part of the trend as well. We're seeing these influential personas come into the space, whether they've had any experience in it or not. They're suggesting that Bitcoin, they're pretty much long-term bullish. And even the ones that are skeptical and saying Bitcoin's going to crash, crypto's a scam, this and that, look what they're doing. They're filing patents. They're coming up with partnerships. They're having closed door meetings. They're inviting certain high prominent experts to come in and help them formulate a plan, a strategy to deal with it, because this thing they've made it clear without any shadow of a doubt, this thing is not going to go away. I mean, you just have to take a look at their actions to determine that. And there's so many of these financial banking institutions. I'm just going to go into that right now. Bank of America is in the news at the moment for filing another patent. Sorry, I'm losing my voice, guys. And this is nothing new. This is a trend that we're seeing with all these, like we know J.P. Morgan in terms of in terms of asset size. I believe they're the largest bank in the US by asset size, according to the S&P Global Market Intelligence. So it's a research firm. So they
if you want me to be you, I could be you and deliver a fundamental analysis. You want me to do it?
Well, that's a change.
Here's my impression. Hello, guys. Bitcoin is going to be 40,000. believe 40,000. You heard that right, guys. 40,000.
Okay, you done?
I'm done. I'm done. Go ahead.
You had to have your moment, right? Look, I love it. I love it. So anyway, JP Morgan, you know, we know about Jamie Dimon. He goes down in history as one of those naysayers that you know, said Bitcoin is a fraud, and you know, but there were other high prominent leaders saying that as well. We heard what Warren Buffett said as well. So anyway, Bank of America, very close to JP Morgan, their assets are something like 2.28 trillion, Bank of America, and then JP Morgan is 2.53. So the second largest bank in America has filed another patent. And if you guys know the history with blockchain and with JP with the and by the way, JP Morgan did file several blockchain patents, and they did join an Ethereum alliance as well. So, but that's another topic. So with Bank of America, guys, this is why I'm saying you need to look at what they're doing. 50 so far. Bank of America has filed blockchain patents. This is another one. And we have to realize that they're looking to establish themselves. They're going to try and integrate with what they need to do in their traditional markets and strategies with this new space. So they're coming up with a crypto storage system, the latest one that is with a crypto storage system. And so here's just to put it in a nutshell, they think that there's a great deal of clients that are not, they're not too, how can I say this? They're not too confident that they will be able to look after or secure their private keys. So they believe there's a market for that. And you know how we all have our money in the bank, checking accounts, saving accounts. In the traditional markets, we have the bank as the intermediary, but also the custodian of our accounts, not just to do the services, but to literally look after our money and be responsible. And I don't know how much it is in America, but in the UK, for example, we have something like 80 or 85 thousand pounds, well over $100,000 worth of deposits that are secured. That are insured by the bank. So in any catastrophic event, they will always, and your money is in danger, they'll always refund you that. They will secure that. So in America, you guys have different systems as well. But with Bank of America, they're positioning themselves, and they have been doing this for over the last 4 years, guys. This is nothing new to them, developing these multiple patents, and they envision a future where cryptocurrencies will achieve mainstream adoption. That is their position. And so they feel that there's been reports that they feel threatened by this, and so they're taking a proactive approach. And creating these custodial solutions. Remember, with Coinbase, they're working on that, with other, large financial companies as well, working on their own version. Nomura Nomura, Japanese investment firm as well, working on their custodial solutions. So this is going to be big business. Like, just the fact that they're creating these solutions is another indicator of where, like, this has to be driven by demand. They don't just come out and start announcing that they're going to create these custodial solutions. That they've done their research, they've seen the possibilities, that the fact that they can save money and make a lot of profit, and help to pioneer in this space. So how it would work is that the users can still leave their funds, the private keys, in the bank's possession. But here's what is worrying. The whole point of this space, the whole point of the technology, the decentralized nature, the fact that, you know, we no longer have, we're trying to get away from the banks. We're trying to get away from that broken system, and now we're coming back to the banks and giving them a hold of our private keys, our cryptos, and you know, what's that? I mean, the rules would be there to protect us. There'd be insurance, but the whole point is to literally take control of your money, which means taking control of your destiny, literally taking control of your financial destiny and fate. Because these banks, we've seen what happened in Cyprus, where they imposed capital controls. There were heavy, the country, the island was heavily leveraged. Greece just recently finished their bailout payments to the European Union, and they had to impose severe austerity measures, and there were runs on the banks, and they didn't have enough, obviously, funds to pay everyone out. So and they had to create IOUs as well. So that this is the scary aspect of it. What do you think, Yusuf? What do you feel like? Don't you think that's a conflict of interest as well?
Yeah, I don't like anything governmental or banks involved in cryptocurrency. Part of the reason why I don't like Ripple, and probably never own a Ripple coin in my entire life. So anything centralized, anything that is associated with government or financial institutions, I am staying away from unless I have some very convincing piece of information otherwise. But the whole idea for financial sovereignty is the antithesis of what I feel banks and governmental bodies bring to the table.
Yeah. And that's, I guess that's where you have to, this is a personal decision as well. But here's the thing. You're trying to diversify, you're trying to manage and spread your risk. What I mean, in my opinion, and from my belief is, if you're going to go into the cryptocurrency space, it's not just for financial gain, but there's a value to be had with educating yourself about the technology, with realizing the implications this has for real world use case scenarios, and how this, in every aspect of our lives, we can bring more efficiencies, we can bring more transparency, we can bring more control, you know, that. And also, it really does highlight, this new technology does highlight the failures of existing systems, and how with our, you know, human ingenuity, I do feel there's always you know, the best and brightest of minds are in this space. They're helping to drive the conversation forward. They're working on these, trying to solve these massive chronic problems that we have. And we know this world is full of inequalities. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. The whole premise of this technology is to bring more you know, more of a balance to back to the people, more power to the people, right? And so when we have developments like this, it's this is how I feel. I feel like if you're going to if you're going to be involved in the crypto space, make sure that that is fully yours to control, and not the banks, and not the, to some extent, the exchanges. You need to basically have your funds kept in different places, because if something happens to your account, your checking account or saving account, there's you know, we have catastrophic events. I know with America, it's heavily indebted. We have Russia selling off the US debt and buying up more gold. We have Iran, we have other enemies of, so-called enemies of America, looking to reduce their reliance, and especially what we're seeing with the trade wars with China, and also America, well, I should say Donald Trump, instigating these arguments with Mexico and Canada with the North American free trade deal. And it's just all this uncertainty, all this the almost like chaos to some respect, in some respect, chaos that may be brought out this. We have to prepare for that. We have to prepare worst case scenario, something happening to our checking account, savings account, we should never have all our wealth stored in one place. We shouldn't have, I mean, not financial advice, but we shouldn't just buy real estate, put every single all our funds there. That's the whole point of diversifying, is to spread your risk, have different asset classes, you know. And that I feel with cryptos it would serve a long term in terms of your investment strategy, and in your portfolio it should constitute a percentage of your entire wealth. And so this I'm not too sure of. Personally speaking, not financial advice, but the way I'll be playing this is having my cryptos in my possession, and having my fiat, a percentage of that. I'll have my real estate, a percentage of that. I will literally find, I will tweak it along the way, and you know, continuously look for strategies that will continue to bring me to reduce my to reduce my risk and increase my profit. And I always have a long-term view when it comes to investing, and this is why I feel, how can I say it? I can understand the reasons why these parties, especially with institutional investors, they do need these custodial solutions. But for the average man and woman on the street, I'm not sure if I want to trust them with my fiat and my crypto. So that's where I feel, because I believe in the idea that you have you know, your power is with you, and with the ability to control your money, you help to control your financial destiny. So that's how I feel about it. And we do expect at some point there will be another recession, and goodness knows the experts are saying this will be even worse than 2008. So again, it's all about preparation as far as I'm concerned, all about diversification, and correct asset allocation. So I know what I personally would do, but again, this is, I feel, a positive development with Bank of America, because they really are trying to adapt to this space. And bear in mind, this will also help to drive mainstream adoption in some way, shape, or form. So again, you can see both sides of you know, the pros and cons of this, and it's interesting. So what are your thoughts about that, Yusuf?
What I was about to say was we have got to get on these charts.
Oh yes, okay. So go ahead.
5-10 minutes. So let me make this quick for the people.
Okay.
Whew, let's see here. Let's see here. Let's see here.
Oh yeah, so guys, please, if you want to see these charts, please share the content, hit up the hearts, the likes, and hashtag not financial advice, but listen though.
Not financial advice, but listen though. Let's see here. All right, I got Bitcoin pulled up, the lady of the hour. Let's everybody wants to see Bitcoin, so let's take a look at Bitcoin.
Let's do it.
So this is my chart here on Bitcoin. This is kind of how I see it. I think we are, so if you guys remember, I explained an indicator that I use that's pretty cool for cryptocurrency. It's called a Tom DeMark indicator. It helps measure strength in the markets. So basically, how that works is that it attempts to identify a trend, when a trend is starting and when a trend is ending. So it does that in a numbering system. Like we take this, for example, the trend started at 1 and the trend ends at 9 and it reverses. The trend starts at 1, but in this case, it got to 5, then reverses. So it's not perfect. No indicator is perfect. What it attempts to do is to get you in a trend for the most part. So you got 1 right here, then bought up a little bit, and then reverse back down. So a green 1, a red 1, A green 9, a red 9, that's a signal of a trend possibly starting or a trend possibly ending, et cetera, et cetera. So, this isn't a TA class, but just kind of give you guys an idea of what I'm looking at. So we're here on the daily chart, and I think we're in this big falling wedge here, well, symmetrical triangle rather, where we're testing the lows. I think we actually broke out. I think that's a healthy breakout, and we fell back in. And we're getting close to the $6,800 range. I know a lot of people had 7,100 and 7,500 on their target list, and I could adjust this. I'm fluid, so I may adjust this a little bit, but I think we're actually getting closer towards the end of the trend right now as far as the buyback. So what you guys are looking here is at the Fibonacci ratio extension tool, and I took it from the top of this move, which was really should have been 85 something. Hold on, let me get you guys an exact measurement. 85.06, just a few bucks off. Let me make sure I get you guys an exact measurement. 85.06. I think it was .7, and it was 57.55. Let's be accurate with this. Doesn't change it much, but let's be accurate. All right, so from the bottom of this move to the top of this move, what we've seen here was a breakthrough and a rejection from the 0.786 fib level, and now we're headed back to this 0.618 fib level. We actually got there with this test right here, and we kind of ranged back up. The thing what I'm looking at here, we're looking at a bearish flag or a bearish ascending triangle rather, where we're forming higher highs and lower highs, where we're tightening within the range. And what's most likely is going to happen by probability wise is a breakdown towards the downside. Breakdown to a retest of 6,300 minimum. But I really think we're going to end up retesting the bottom here at 5,800, completing this potential shoulder, head, shoulder pattern, head and shoulder pattern. And if we do that, if we do break down and we retest this $5,800 range, 5,755, then I don't think we're going to come back up. I mean, it's possible that we can come back up to retest this $6,300 range. It's not very likely. I think we may just end up retesting the bottom of the structure around $6,000 and trade under $6,000 and then fall back down. So right now, guys, I'm seeing, even though we're buying up in price, I'm seeing a movement that is forming that's going to favor towards the bears, towards the downside. We take a look at stochastic RSI, we're in overbought territory. That means we're getting weaker. Take a look at RSI, we're running into heavy resistance right at that 52-point range. We take a look at price action, we had this strong reversal daily candle. And as long as we're trading within the wick of this candle, that means the bears are still in control. And this candle wicked up to 68.99. So the only way that the bulls have a chance, we have to trade at least at the very minimum $1 above 68.99. And I'm not that confident we're going to see that. We're looking at the daily price bars. Look at this price bar right here, this number 4. We wicked down and pulled back up, but we closed bearish. And then this bar is obviously open, but we're still trading within this price bar. These are inside bars. So what price likes to do is to give you a long wick bar like this and have several inside bars trading within this bar, the number 3 bar, and then shoot back down. So if we break below 6,500, 6,450 again, I think that's going to be a tell. I mean, I think we're going to definitely see, 6,300. And if we see 6,300 again, I think we're definitely come back to 5,700, retest these lows. So I actually think we're towards the end of this uptrend. I think we might have another day or two of buying, just depends. But I think we're definitely nearing the end of it. It could really sell off any day, even today, tonight, tomorrow. So we're, in my view, not financial advice, not saying sell anything, not saying buy anything, but in my view, I think we're nearing the end of this trend and we're going to come back down. So I was on the record and I said that we were going to see 67 to 6,900, and we did, and then we sold off. And then I thought 6,600, there was some support around that 6,600 range, right around here. I thought that was going to hold and give us a lower shoulder to this shoulder, but that didn't happen, and that's okay. I mean, it doesn't have to, work out perfectly. So we're still within this price pattern. We have a shoulder here ahead, and we're still within the range of the shoulder. So the bullish scenario is if we break above 6,800 convincingly, like we get a daily close, then we have to put 7,100 on the table, and then we have to put 7,500 on the table. And depending on how we break, I may adjust my symmetrical triangle. Perhaps I have it off, or perhaps I need to adjust it. But if we break above 6,800, really 6,900, then yeah, I have to start looking at more short-term bullish scenarios up to 7,130, up to 7,455. But I don't think we're going to get there. I think we're losing strength. We're exhausting. If anything, we'll probably go sideways for another day or two and then come back down. That's just what I think. Could be wrong, but just looking at the indicators, looking at Tom DeMark's sequential indicator, looking at price action, looking where support and resistance is, looking how we're overextended in these markets. It's fair to think that maybe it's time for us to see a discount. And then and then we're also in a bearish pattern that we have to break out. And I think we're going to break out towards the downside and see much lower prices. So I have price action confirmation. I have some indicator oscillator confirmation. So I feel like we're going to see a lower price on Bitcoin. But, Bitcoin is sometimes, shocks the world and does its own thing. So invest at your own risk, do your own research. I'm still bearish on the market. That's all I got, Crypto Azzy.
Okay. I'm just gonna see the comments. Give me a moment to see if there's any anyone asking for coins that they want to see on the charts. From what I can see, there isn't. No. Any other? Actually, what I was gonna say regarding Nick Ross's question. So what's driving the demand with the ETFs at the moment is the institutional investors. They do want exposure to cryptocurrencies, to Bitcoin, and they do want that to be, they literally want the space to be as safe as possible and take advantage of the growing adoption. I mean, the fact that we're going to see Backed being launched in November by ICE and Microsoft and Starbucks, the fact that there's going to be more clarity on regulations come in by the end of by the final quarter of this year and going into next year, all of this, everything is interlinked. With this pace, it's not just blockchain technology, but the real question of is cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin and other digital currencies, is this an evolution of money? Is this something which is inevitable? If it wasn't Bitcoin, if it wasn't crypto, would there have been out? Sorry, have I been talking while it's been muted?
No, you wasn't. Go ahead.
Did you catch all of that?
Yeah, we caught most of it, but you can repeat if you want to.
From what part? What did you hear?
The evolution of money.
Oh no. Let me repeat that again. So to answer Nick Ross's question regarding if we need ETFs, it's already happening. That we can't turn back from this point onwards, because the demand is being driven by institutional investors who do want exposure to Bitcoin and cryptos. If there's going to be, and because they do have, as we know, information, they're privy to certain information and certain developments that's in the pipeline. And so there's no two ways about it. Blockchain is here to stay. That could be argued till the cows come home, but as we see from the evidence, this is going to be transformational, and it already is in some cases. So what we're going to see with the ETFs is with the institutional investors in particular, they will position themselves to take advantage before we get mainstream adoption. And they do want to help because it obviously will benefit them. They do want to play a part in driving that mainstream adoption. So with retail, especially retail adoption, where we're seeing Starbucks and other companies looking to integrate their systems with cryptocurrencies and using blockchain technology to drive efficiencies and lower costs and increase transparency. This is a win-win-win situation for different stakeholders. So I understand what you mean by these are the same players that came in 2008 and messed up the economy. The whole impact of that, people losing their jobs, their homes, healthcare, because you need to be employed to have, well, with the private healthcare aspect of it. And this basically is not going to go away. And at some point, we do believe a Bitcoin ETF will be approved. It's just a case of will the two concerns that the SEC have, that in terms of fraud and manipulation, will they be able to satisfy that criteria, is the question. Now with the CBOE, I mean the NYSE as well, these are big names. I'm sure they've discussed their strategy, what they're going to do. They wouldn't just be filing it if they didn't think there was absolutely no value and that there was no demand. So we know with the CBOE, because it's physically settled, this time you're gonna have to have the Bitcoins and it will be stored securely in warehouses. And they have experience of that with other commodities. There's no reason why it can't work. They just need to find something that satisfies the investors, the brokers and other parties involved, and obviously with the government. They do want to ensure it's regulated, and everyone has to basically find something that works for them and be able to progress and move forward. But there's no doubt about it, they're trying to get early advantage on this. If you can't beat them, join them. That's their attitude. If they didn't give a damn about cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin, we wouldn't see this much involvement and this much manipulation of price. And so we just need to be we don't have we don't have access to the kind of information they do, but if we watch what they do and we anticipate and we do the opposite of how the market reacts, that could be a strategy and a position we take that will help us ride the trend and be able to gain long term, because they're in it long term. They're not here just to hit and run. So we have to take a long term approach to this. We have to diversify, and we have to not be psychologically and emotionally attached to any aspect of it. We have to see this as investors and anticipate their moves. So yeah, what are your thoughts?
Excellent advice, Crypto Azzy.
And I hope Nick, that answered your question in regards to that. So yes, despite the same players that got us into the issues with 2008, and we're trying to run away, we're trying to walk away from the infrastructure and the systems that they built, and so with them joining the space and being able to take advantage of it, we just have to be wary that any news that comes out, especially FUD, and at the same time they're filing these patents, they're collaborating and coming up with partnerships, they're, you know, they're doing everything positive to build the space and help it evolve and drive mainstream adoption. Those are the key things you need to watch out and see how truly involved they are. If they're saying all these things, if their dollars, if their manpower, if their access, and everything they have, if they're throwing a lot of effort and time and money into this, that's how you should, well, not financial advice, but that's a clue. That's a massive clue as to what they're planning to do. You don't just file patents for no good reason, even if it's a hedge, even if you think, it's risky. They're doing this for a reason, clearly. So yeah, just be wary of that.
Cool beans, Crypto Azzy. Well, we have offered a lot and did a lot, so thank you. Appreciate it. You always do a great job. So everyone, like, share, thank Crypto Azzy, and we'll be back again. I think we're going. I think we have something we're doing tomorrow too to talk about crypto. So maybe they'll see us tomorrow.
We shall see.
I'm good. Anything else?
That's it for me.
Peace, family. Till the next time.
Peace out.